You're putting your child on a bus to go to school. You might have struggled to find the right things to say to them and, for that matter, to say to yourself about the horrors in Newtown.
Parenting expert and author Bill Corbett joins us live to tell us how we can talk to our kids and ourselves about Newtown. Bill, so nice to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
I'm sure that you've been hearing a lot from parents, talking to a lot of parents. I think what people are really thinking right now is how do they talk to their kids about this, but also we have to address what should parents be feeling when they have to send their kids to school. How can they cope?
Well, first of all, what's important is we have to remember that our children get their emotional stability from the reflection of the parents. So how the parent is feeling, the child will feel. So the first step is to make sure that we are good listeners. And unfortunately, we have to kind of set our emotions aside momentarily, let them say everything that's on their mind, that they're feeling about this whole incident, and ask them how they feel about it, and then assure them that they're safe. The next most important thing is, because we're human, we need to grieve. And all of us have been grieving over the last several days over this incident because it touches each and every one of us. The important thing is to do our best to grieve away from our children. Now, a lot of neighbors and families are coming to parents and saying, what can we do to help? One thing that you can do is say, could you watch my children for half an hour, for an hour, and I'll be back. And we need to go away and have that time to grieve and to cry and to feel the sadness, to get it out of our soul, and then come back refreshed and be ready to take care of our children.
I think what a lot of parents are finding it hard to do is to say, you are safe, you are, when it's hard for them to actually say it if they don't really believe it.
Yeah, absolutely, because children pick up from your facial expression, from your action, from your tone. It's not just your words. And I know we think the umbilical cord was cut a long time ago, and it was, but we're still connected. Children can sense when something's going on inside the parent's soul. So it's good to grieve and get it out of your system and come back and then be refreshed and behave in a way and speak in a way and act in a way that assures your child that they're going to be okay.
It's true. It's much like the president last night. You know, he's a father, but he did some grieving, and then he came together to address the nation. You know, he had his time to grieve, and then he came together and really made his words felt.
Children don't really see the difference between reality and make-believe, especially at early age. They have trouble detecting what's the difference between it. So let them express what they say, even if it sounds ridiculous. Also, if your child is not expressing how they feel, be careful for unusual behaviors. You may see children acting out in strange ways. Be calm about it and be relaxed about it. It's as adults, we know how to go, I'm feeling this way. Children don't know how to do that. They don't know how to express how they feel. So sometimes the expression of their emotion comes out through their behavior. So there could be very strange behavior. There could be anything from being silly and acting dumb to bedwetting. All kinds of things could occur. So it's important for parents to be relaxed and calm at this time.
And unfortunately, a lot of parents don't want to let their children go. They want to keep them safe. What advice do you have for parents who are afraid to let go of their children now?
Well, they've got to let them go back into a normalcy as soon as possible. You've got to get them back into normal routine. That is one way of helping them to realize that I'm going to be safe and everything is going to be all right. And of course, like I said earlier, it's making sure that you create an environment at home through your own behavior that says, we're going to be fine.
Right, and part of that is letting your feelings out away from your children.
Yeah.
To make sure that you are composed.
Now, Bill, what about media coverage? I know, we're always inundated these days by the 24-hour news cycle. How much of that should we expose to our kids, and should we let that play a role in the dialogue that we formulate with our children?
All right, so the mainstream media has a job to do to report the results. And a lot of people are tuned into their television and radio because they want to know. The first thing we do is, how could this have happened? So we're constantly digging for what makes this incident different than my town or my family. So that's fine. The only thing is children don't need all of that. So again, parents need to find another time away from their children to be reading the news or watching television. Minimize the coverage as much as possible. Shut it off, because too much will overwhelm them. And what we're talking about is managing the child's fear. If we inundate them with the news coverage, it increases the level of the child's fear, and then they begin to act out more and become difficult to manage. So minimizing around the children.
Well, maybe a nice thing to do then is if you sit your kids down and maybe you're eating dinner or they're watching a kid's movie or a kid's television show, you can use your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop to do your research then and not hide it from them, but kind of clothe them from it.
You can. And another thing is, if they are exposed to the news media, focus on the heroes. Focus on the people who were there to save the children rather than what happened in the actual massacres. Focus on, notice the firemen, the policemen, and look at how many there are, and it helps them feel safe in
Those
that moment.
teachable
Yes,
moments.
that's so true. And there's a lot that's been happening surrounding this in our community, a lot of candlelight vigils and people coming together to pay their respects. Do you suggest that parents bring their children to an event like this?
Oh, absolutely. And it shows them the unity of coming together and the positiveness. And if they ask questions, answer them to the best of your ability, but then focus on something positive related to the event or the activity that you're involved in. And there's other things you can do just beyond the don't wait for a candle vigil to occur. There's all kinds of social service agencies that need help. You talked about collecting the teddy bears. I'm sure they can all use volunteers to distribute ribbons and teddy bears. Let your kids have an active role in that. They're going to be focused on the positive and what to do going forward rather than what did happen.
It's so good to have you here. It's so hard to talk about this. It's kind of sticks to your stomach just even bringing it up again, just thinking about it. But it's so nice to have you here
Great.
to
Glad
help
to be
us.
here.
Thanks for being here, Bill.
Sure.
Great to have you. And that brings us to